feel the pressure of having to hurry to get done in time. So, no, good morning. Welcome, everybody. And a light crowd today, and we I truly appreciate each of you coming in this nasty weather. I don't know if you've noticed, we're kind of shortening things up here a little bit just to get you all home before it's too bad. But I do am so blessed that each of you are here today and looking out. Like one of the things I truly believe that a family, especially a young couple with children, that make it a priority to bring their kids to church, to come to church. I truly believe God will bless that, and marriage can be at times difficult, but I know personally when this is where I get refreshed and help sort some things out. So thank you for coming. I truly believe God is blessing you. It's a choice to be here, and I think you're making the right choice. So last Sunday I talked about, this Sunday, don't want to get ahead of myself. Today's title is What to Do When You're Not Wrong. And it ties in with last Sunday's, and it's really the overarching message is all about humility before God and each other, God and one another, and just living this life of being humble and understanding that we're not perfect, that sometimes we get it wrong, I do get it wrong. Very rarely do I ever get anything wrong, but we all get stuff wrong from time to time. But I don't think I want to. Well, I know I want to start this message like we did the other one, and have a little time of prayer. I'm sure most or all of you know, like Corey had a really big deal happen. Was it Wednesday evening, where that plant was burnt down. And where it affected a lot of people. And so one of the things, I am acting interim, president of the Corey Area Ministerium. And we had been going through some transition and kind of restructuring what we do. And so 2 meetings ago, we decided that it was a big deal that we just transition into a group that just gets together to pray for our churches collectively, to pray for our community, all that. I don't believe it was by accident that our very first prayer meeting was Thursday morning, because we had something big to pray for our community. And I know we were praying for all the firemen and emergency crews that gave up time. And I don't know if many of you know that. I did that for many years, and appreciated all the prayers for my safety. But one of the things I don't think the general public realizes is when a firefighter gets called on a call like that, their families suffer. Like they're giving up time. I'm sure there were guys there that missed sporting events from their kids, maybe a recital or a play, or maybe just missed being there to tuck their kids in at night, and put all that responsibility on their spouse. So when we have something like that, just don't forget to pray for everybody. It's challenging, but and then also all the men and women who work there that as of yesterday, when I talked to Ryan Kane, who goes to church here, he hadn't heard anything. He doesn't know what's next or if he's going to be, if they're going to keep him on, if they're going to have a job, not, unemployment, all that. There's a lot up in the air. And one of the things I do know was they payday was Friday. They all got their paycheck, so they're covered for a little while. And if there'll be unemployment come in. But in talking with him, I just want to prepare and share where we're at. There could be a gap between all that with family, with kids, and paying bills. So we might be, as a church, called upon to do something to help if there's a need. We're not sure what that need will be yet, if there is any. So just pray about it. That's all I'm asking. Pray for not just Ryan and his wife and children, but all the people that work there. It's a big deal for a small town like this. So I'm going to move right into my message now. Last Sunday, the title was You Might Not Always Be Right. Did I say that right? Yeah. You might not always be right. But what if you're not wrong? What do you do if you're not wrong? if you're dealing with someone, a situation, and you know you're right. But what happens in that same situation when the person you're dealing with, who you're at odds with, is also not wrong? Did you ever deal with a situation where you're both right? I think we all have, right? So what if we, small crowd here today, the roads are good, what if we decide we're all, we're done, we've had enough church for one day, and we're all going to go to Applebee's and meet up there for lunch and just have a good time? Or if we leave here all at the same time, are all of us going to get there at the same exact time? Probably not. Is there any, do you think we will all, 100% of us, take the exact same route getting there? Like, I know I'm going out here, turning right, going up 89 to Route 8, into Wattsburg, on 90, onto Peach Street. Like, I know I'm going that way. Some of you people that are wrong are going to go down here to the intersection and go through Waterford, right? Like, sorry, you're not wrong. It's the point I'm trying to make. Or you could go clear into Edinburgh and up 79, or up into Northeast and across 90. Like, the point is, there's lots of different ways to get there. And if you're Ryan Peterson, you are not coming home the same way you went, right? Am I right? Yeah, Ryan never goes the same way twice. It's so much fun. The point I'm trying to make is, in lots of situations, both parties that are at odds can be right. It happens all the time. When there's really nobody wrong, but relationships end because we can dig our heels in and just have to be right in it. And that's what we're working on. Like obviously, I know the way I go, the things I think, I'm right. I'm just always right. I'm perfect, right? Like, have you ever watched two people argue over something where they're either both right or they're both wrong? Like, anybody? Like, it can be very comical. Like, raise children that like to butt heads at times. Like, our boys did that all the time. Like, you are arguing over the dumbest thing in the world, and it drives you nuts. It can be comical. Or here's this one. Like, our house is always hot. And so for some reason, our thermostat must be broke, because it always just somehow goes up on its own. I don't know how it does that. So I'm constantly turning it down. And somehow it constantly gets turned back up. But, right? It just happens, right? It just happens. No, the point is, like, she's always cold and I'm always hot. Doesn't mean either of us are wrong, right? Anybody ever have these issues before? Sometimes the conflict is real, though. But what if we figure out a way to not so much focus on who's right or wrong, but we realize, like, we're looking at the same thing from different angles, and we want to understand that the most important part is the relationship and how we progress through this when there is conflict. So that's the point I'm really trying to make with this week and last week's message. Conflict. How do we deal with it appropriately? Like, when you don't want to admit you're wrong, that's a hard one for me, because I'm always right. Yeah, just ask anybody that knows. No, don't do that. But sometimes we can get so ingrained in being right that we're willing to die on that hill. Or we're willing to sacrifice a good relationship just to be right. But there's other ways to deal with things other than having to be right all the time. Sometimes it's stopping and just listening to what God has to say. In 1 Samuel, we can read about King Saul. And Saul was the first king of Israel. He was the very first one, and he started out pretty good as a king. But then he started kind of going rogue, not listening to God. And that was the Israelites, like God's chosen people, and God was big on, you follow where I'm leading you, and I will bless and bless and bless. Well, King Saul decided at one point not to listen to God. And God told him, like, they were going into battle with the Amalekites. And God told him, like, I'm with you in this battle. When it's over, take nothing. Because it was common then that when two cities, these people groups would battle, the winner would just take everything. They would take the cattle, every ounce of food, all the gold, silver, everything. They'd even take the women and children and usually kill all the men. That was common. But God told Saul this time, take nothing. But Saul didn't listen. He was greedy. He's like, my people did this. This is common. This is normal. We're taking this stuff. And then God confronts him on it. Saul did it anyway, and God confronts him. And he tried to give excuses to justify his disobedience. But this is where God decided it was time for Saul to no longer be king and started raising up David. Disobedience and conflict with God is never a good thing. So we believe that Scripture teaches that there's Scripture is without error. So what do we do? Like, I'm just pointing out areas where people have disagreements or things don't seem to quite line up. So what do we do with that? So Matthew and Mark, when Jesus was raised from the dead and they went to the tomb, Matthew and Mark both wrote in their accounts in the gospel that there was an angel, one angel, singular. Luke, when he writes about the same account, talks about two angels. So who's right? Is there conflict in Scripture with this? How do we approach this? How do we look at it? In all reality, they both can be right. Maybe Matthew and Mark only saw one, so they're writing what they saw. Maybe one was hiding around the corner that Luke walked and saw a second. I don't know. The point is, when there's conflict, what do we do with that? Because conflict can in the end, ruin some really strong, life-giving relationships if we let it happen. And it happens all the time at work, at home, in the church. We have to biblically handle conflict. And I know it all works out. Many innocent people, too, have lost their lives over conflict that could have been, I'm talking about wars here, that could have been stopped if people just came together and approached conflict like the Bible asks us to do. So Jesus has this great plan in Matthew 18 for conflict resolution. And it's a really good one. And we're going to read it now. And if you've never tried this, please promise me you'll try it next time you're in conflict with someone. So in Matthew 18, verse 15, words of Jesus, if your brother or sister sins, so there's the first qualifier. If they've sinned, that doesn't make sense. Sorry about that. If your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault. Think about that for a second. Go and point out their fault. Well, first of all, if somebody comes to you and points out your fault, how are you going to react? It's probably not going to be a pleasant reaction. So right away, we're seeing instantly that this is something that's difficult. It's something that none of us want to do. So it's not like we're getting excited that we get to go confront somebody on their sin, right? So there has to be a relationship with that person. This gets pulled out of context quite often, and we love to just, if we see somebody doing something wrong, I'm just going to go lay into them, right? No, I don't believe that's what this is saying. If your brother or sister, somebody close, somebody in the church, somebody that you have relationship with sins, go and point out their fault. And here's the kicker, just between the two of you. And if they listen, you have won them over. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. They're looking for truth there. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen, even to the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. And now for the next 10 minutes, we're going to pick that apart. And it's going to be fun, right? Step 1, this is the very first one. Go to that person privately. So here's where I need to be up front. You don't go and put something on social media and leave the names retracted just venting about someone, right? We see it all the time. Actually, yesterday I deleted my Facebook because I'm just so annoyed with people right now with that stuff. Just don't. Go to that person directly. No group text to the family whining about somebody else. No, hey, pastor, can you send out a prayer request because this person's a mess? Just really want to gossip. That happens a lot too. You don't go to their boss because the way they treated you. Them first. No one else. Handle it quietly. This is what Jesus is saying. Handle it quietly, lovingly, and humbly. And I truly believe most conflicts would disappear if we followed that first verse. If we approach it rightly, not if we walk up to somebody and say, hey, you're a jerk, you blah, 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 because you did this to me. No, it's hey, remember when this happened? Like, I don't think that was good. How can we work through this? Because I love you and I care about the relationship. Let's work through this. And if that other person is a Christian, it should go well. Humbly, quietly, lovingly. I was at one time, many years ago, working with a family, a couple, and we were working through some pretty serious issues. And the one got really upset with me for the approach I took. Like, I wasn't wrong in my approach, but they didn't like it. The approach was actually, it would have been very helpful to them as a couple. But this person got really mad. Like fighting mad, like relationship ending mad at me. Believe it or not, people get mad at me from time to time. I don't know. But I know, like I don't want to sound ignorant. I was right. But guess what happened? Matthew 18 stuff happened. He did the biblical thing and he let me know he was upset. So often we get upset. And instead of going to that person and working through it, we bottle it up and we let it fester and we let it get in there and destroy things. We run our mouths to other people. We gossip. If it's a husband and wife, this is where affairs start, because one of the two is upset and they confide in a coworker or a friend of the opposite sex, and now this thing's becoming an emotional affair. Instead of doing what Jesus says, instead of talking to the person, Matthew 18, go have a big boy conversation. It's not going to be easy. I've lost a lot of sleep over these conversations. I know many of you have as well. So that person was really mad at me. But I wasn't wrong. He thought I was. He didn't like it. But he did the biblical thing and approached me on it. And boy, let me tell you, I wanted to dig my heels in and stand my ground. That wouldn't have helped anything. And I'm not sharing this to pat myself on the back, because I've screwed up these a lot. I'm pointing it out because I know it works. But I chose to de-escalate, apologize for the emotions, the misunderstanding, all that stuff. And took a different approach. And was still able to work with that couple and to help preserve their relationship. Matthew 18, go talk to them directly. So here's the thing I want to ask you. Because I know none of you here are ever in conflict with anybody, right? We got this figured out, right? But here's what I ask of you. When someone else comes to you complaining or whining about someone else, here's where you can say, hey, I got this great way to fix this. Go talk to that person directly. Don't come to me. Go talk to that person, and here's what I'm going to do because I know it'll work. I'm going to give you a day or two, and then I'm going to ask you again, and I'm going to ask that person if you've had that conversation. We can force that conversation a little bit. Go to them directly. It's biblical. Go talk to them. But here's the fun part. If this is you, if you're one of the two in conflict, if you're the one going to talk to someone, you have to be very careful here because you might be wrong. And here's where verse 16 comes in. If they don't listen, take one or two with you. Guess what the job of that one or two is? Seek truth. Not to take sides, but they might decide you're not being truthful here. So we need to be careful when we do this. We need to make sure that we're doing this appropriately. And if you are the one or two, that can be fun, right? See, God is now allowing outside help to come in to determine where the truth lies and what to do. So what if you are the one or two? You get to be the judge, right? Or the referee, the voice of wisdom in this. Who here would have wanted to be the referee at the last Bills game with that catch or interception? Who would have wanted to actually make that call? I sure wouldn't have. Not at all. And I'm not saying they got it right. Trust me. It's not an easy job is what I'm pointing out, but it's one that needs done. And if we're called upon to do that, we need to do it biblically. We don't get to blindly take sides. You respond biblically. Your goal is to lead them both to Jesus and the solution there. It's about finding truth. But it has to be done in a way that remembers people, where people are our priority. People have dignity. We approach it with love and respect. I think Romans 12:9 and 10 really speaks into how we should handle this, where it says love must be sincere, and we hate what is evil, and we cling to what is good. But we're to be devoted to one another in love and honor one another above ourselves. I don't enjoy being the one or two. I've had to do that before. I don't enjoy it, but it works. But a big problem is we rarely get to that step because we're too, I don't know if afraid or cowardice is the right word. We don't want to approach it. We rarely get to this step. So go talk to that person that offends you. And if that doesn't work, you take a few with you. And if that doesn't work, guess what you get to do next? You take the entire church with you. That'll be fun, right? Next Sunday, the courtroom's in session. And on the docket is Amelia and Phoebe because they both brought the same dish to the potluck. And now we got a big fight over whose was better, right? There's been church disputes that have been sillier than that one. The loser loses their preferred seating in church the next Sunday. That's some big punishment there. It really is. Trust me. I actually got kicked out of a seat once in this church because I sat in somebody else's seat a few years ago. Come on. That's not the approach. Jesus says, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. So, what is that, right? Now we need to go see, how does Jesus treat sinners and tax collectors, pagans and tax collectors? How does he do that? Because that's how we're to treat these people that maybe are wrong, but they're too stinking stubborn to admit it, and they're just going to keep fighting. Well, he ate dinner with them. He went to their house. He spoke truth clearly without affirming the sin. And he offered grace and invitation. No platform or authority, grace and invitation to him. We don't treat them as insiders, but we never treat as enemies. Like, our human nature wants to shun, shame, harass, cut off all ties. Now there can be boundaries where we need to protect ourselves. I'm not saying that these people get a free pass. That's not biblical. But we don't treat them with contempt. When Jesus says treat them like a pagan or a tax collector, he's not saying treat them harshly. He's telling us to treat them honestly. Love stays. Truth stays. But pretending nothing's wrong stops. Matthew 18 teaches us to walk the long road of grace. It's not an easy walk. To have private conversations, patient pursuit, and honest boundaries. All with the goal in mind. One goal in mind. And that goal in mind is not winning the argument, but preserving relationship. Because maybe, just maybe, it will lead someone back to the truth and the grace of Jesus. Amen. Tian.
Like Reedy said, we're going to wrap up here kind of early today, just so when we get home